started, we'll go to the Lord in prayer. Let's continue to remember those in the church that are sick. Continue to pray for the lost. Pray for our nation. Pray for our church. Pray for each other. And ask y'all, if you would, to remember my dad in your prayers. He's not doing good. Told him today he'd have to be on oxygen all the time now. His oxygen level got real low, and so just keep him in your prayers. And I think he's got a lot of fluid too, so just keep him in your prayers. Anybody have a spoken request tonight? Yeah. Remember that. Anybody else? I'll ask Brother Jimmy if he'll lead us tonight.
Our Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you once again, Lord, we thank you for the offer that you allow us to be in your house tonight, Lord. You give us that opportunity, Lord. We so freely have, Lord. God, we're just so thankful for our health and strength that you give us, Lord. The daily provisions that you provide for us in your Lord. Lord, we just ask you to be with all those who shake us up, Lord. You know each thing that's at hand, and I pray God to be with Mrs. tonight. You'll help her, Lord. You know the situation she's in. Help the doctors and nurses, Lord. Give them the wisdom and the knowledge they need. Lord, there's so many of this sick stuff, and Lord, they leave at home, and hospice homes, hospitals, Lord, nursing homes. You know each thing. Lord, I know that you are a great physician, that you can and will handle all things for you, thy will. Lord, we're just so thankful for Brother Rick tonight, God. Lord, you bless him and bring reading and studying of his word. We'll be able to understand right our hearts, Lord, in terms of what we better service and believe. Lord, as you be with our nation tonight, Lord, be with leaders of this country, God, that they turn to you, Lord, most of all, first of all, Lord, for salvation, God, that they be saved. And Lord, that they make decisions that's right for each one, Lord. And God, we're asking, Lord, for the lost tonight, God, they'd see that need for us entirely too late. Lord, we ask for those that couldn't be here for whatever reasons, God. Those who just don't have a desire anymore, Lord, we just pray, God, Lord, that you just rekindle that fire that don't burn, the desire to serve you, God. And Lord, we just ask, Lord, that you help us and use us wherever you see fit. And be mindful, Lord, that you'd always help us to be able to help or encourage someone along the line, Lord. We'll do our best, Lord, always give you praise and honor, Lord, for all you do. And it's for these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank God for gumbo prayer tonight. Back up. Like I say again, it's good to be here tonight. It's good to see each one out. Down to chapter 78, down to about the 17th verse, so we'll start there tonight. You pray for us. Bring us out in a way that we understand it. This is ingratitude for provisions. Talking about the children of Israel. How ungrateful they were for what God had done for them. And, as I was reading over this and studying a little bit, I couldn't help but think about how ungrateful that our nation is for what God's done for it. God's brought us a long ways. God's poured his blessings out upon our nation time after time. He's protected us from enemies. He's, kept this nation, I guess what you say, a free nation. A nation that we can come out here tonight and meet out here at this little church and worship him. And we should be grateful for that. We should thank him for that, because a lot of places, some of these other countries, they're not able to do that. They have to meet in secret, because if they're caught worshiping God or praying or anything like that, they could face prison sentences, and some of them even be put to death because of what they stand for, what they believe in. But I'm thankful that it's not like that here tonight. But some people, I wish they would realize that. I wish they realized just how good God is to us and what He's done for us. I believe that if a lot of folks would just realize, just how good God is to us every day, I believe our churches would be full. I believe we'd, have them standing around like years ago, have to raise the windows and people be gathered around outside because they were anxious to hear the Word of God. And, I wish that it would get back like that, don't you? I mean, I really do. I wish that we could see things change, but the only way they're going to change is we're going to have to pray and ask God's will to be done. But we'll go ahead and read from 17th down through the 31st verse, and then we'll go back and talk about this some. It says, "And they sinned yet more against him by provoking the Most High in the wilderness. And they tempted God in their heart by asking meat for their lust. Yea, they spake against God. They said, Can God furnish a table in the wilderness? Behold, he smote the rock, that the waters gushed out, and the streams overflowed. Can he give bread also? Can he provide flesh for his people? Therefore the Lord heard this, and was wroth. So a fire was kindled against Jacob, and the anger also came up against Israel, because they believed not in God, and trusted not in his salvation. Though he had commanded the clouds from above, and opened the doors of heaven, and had rained down manna upon them to eat, and had given them the corn of heaven. Man did eat angels' food. He sent them meat to the full. He caused an east wind to blow in the heaven, and by his power he brought in the south wind. He rained flesh also upon them as dust, and feathered fowls like as the sand of the sea. And he let it fall in the midst of their camp, round about their habitations. So they did eat and were filled, for he gave them their own desire. And they were not estranged from their lust. But while their meat was yet in their mouths, the wrath of God came upon them, and slew the fattest of them, and smote down the chosen men of Israel." Now, if you will, tonight we'll turn over into the book of Exodus, 16th chapter of Exodus, and we'll read about what happened. God had brought the children of Israel out of Egypt. God had provided for them and taken care of them, and as He brought them across the Red Sea and up on the banks on the other side, it wasn't long till they began to grumble and complain, and they wanted bread. They wanted something to eat. They said, have you brought us up here to starve? At least, while we were back there in Egypt, we had food to eat. But yet they didn't seem like they forgot about how bad the Egyptians were to them. They forgot how that the Egyptians had mistreated them. All because they became hungry. A lot of people tonight, do a lot of strange things to fulfill the lust of the flesh. They'll go out of their way to fulfill those desires, but they forget about what God's done for them, and how He's already taken care of them, and how He will take care of them if they'll just only trust Him, just only ask Him for what they need. But in 16th chapter of the book of Exodus, in chapter 16, verse 1 says, "And they took their journey from Elim, And all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after their departing out of the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Now here they began complaining, didn't they? God had brought them so far on their journey, but now they were out there in the wilderness, out there in a, I guess you might say, a barren place, and they began to complain. We don't have anything to eat. What are we going to do? And they began to complain against Moses and Aaron. When they done that, they were complaining against God, because Moses and Aaron were doing what God commanded them to do. Moses and Aaron were leading them out of Egypt by the way that God had commanded them to lead them. I thought a lot of times when I read this, what would the Israelites think, or what would they have done if Moses and Aaron said, just go on back into Egypt, just turn around and go on back to where you were at? Think about that. A lot of people tonight, I believe they're saved. I believe they're Christians, but they've strayed so far away from God. They seem to want to go back out into the world from where God brought them from. I don't, as I think about it, I don't see nothing out there in the world that is worth going back to. All the things that you used to do or have done in the past, it's not worth going back to. All thing it'll bring is heartache, misery, and pain. But they begin to murmur and complain. And as I said before, they must have been Baptists, because Baptists like to complain a lot, don't they? I guess everybody does. We like to complain, like to murmur. It says, Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel, At even then ye shall know that the Lord hath brought you out from the land of Egypt. And in the morning then ye shall see the glory of the Lord. For he that heareth your murmurings against the Lord, for that he heareth your murmurings against the Lord. And what are we that you murmur against us? And Moses said, This shall be, when the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. For that the Lord heareth your murmurings, which you murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against the Lord. And Moses spake unto Aaron, saying unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, Come near before the Lord, for he hath heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, At even ye shall eat flesh, and in the morning ye shall be filled with bread, and ye shall know that I am the Lord your God. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoar frost on the ground. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, It is manna, for they wist not what it was. And Moses said unto them, This is the bread which the Lord hath given you. Now, we read on further, I want you to notice what how God told them what they were supposed to do. They complained that they didn't have anything to eat, and God sent quail in the evening, sent them flesh to eat. That the quail came in, covered the camp, and then in the morning when they got up, He sent manna to feed the children of Israel. It says, "This is the thing which the Lord hath commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, an omer for every man, according to the number of your persons. Take ye every man for them which are in his tents." And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. And Moses said, "Let no man leave of it till the morning." Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moses, but some of them left of it until the morning. And it bred worms and stank, and Moses was wroth with them. And they gathered it every morning, every man according to his eating, and when the sun waxed hot, it melted. God provided manna for them. And the only thing that He asked them to do was that they go out and gather each person for what was in his tent, and they were to each man had exactly, or each person had exactly enough of what they needed to be full. They weren't supposed to leave it until the morning, or go out and gather enough today to do for tomorrow. But they done right the opposite of what God commanded them to do. Some of them, I guess, they got up and decided, well, I'm going to go ahead and get enough for tomorrow, and that way I can sleep in. I can just, stay in the bed a little longer tomorrow and won't have to worry about getting out and getting it. But that didn't work, did it? A lot of people, I think sometimes that, when God reveals something to them, they want to try to, add their thoughts to it, add their reasoning to it. But if God commands us to do something or asks us to do something, we should just go ahead and do it, because after all, God knows. He knows what's best for us. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses. And he said unto them, "This is that which the Lord hath said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Bake that which you will bake today, and seethe that which you will seethe, and that which remaineth over lay up for you to be kept until the morning." And they laid it up until the morning, as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worms therein. And Moses said, "Eat that today, for today is the Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find it in the field. 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none." God told them, go out each day for 6 days, gather just enough what that you'll need for that day. But then on the 6th day, you're to go out and you're to gather twice as much on the 6th day, so that you'd have some for the 7th day, because the 7th day was a day of rest. That was God's holy day, God's Sabbath. God wanted them to rest, but I'm sure that some of them they probably disobeyed. Probably got up on the Sabbath day and went out to get their manna, and there weren't any. So it's best to do as God tells us to do, and leave our thoughts and our ways out of it. It says, "And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather, and they found none. And the Lord said unto Moses, How long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws? See, for that the Lord hath given you the Sabbath. Therefore he hath given you on the 6th day the bread for 2 days' for 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place. Let no man go up out of his place on the seventh day. So the people rested on the seventh day. And the house of Israel called the name thereof manna. And it was like coriander seed, white, and the taste of it was like wafers made with honey. So the psalmist, as he goes back and he recounts this time that the children of Israel had disobeyed God, that the better God was to them. He said yet they sinned more and more. They provoked him in the wilderness. They tempted him in the heart, asking for meat. We're not to tempt God, are we? We're to obey him. We're to trust him. Trust and obey his commandments, his statutes, his laws, because I guarantee you there's nothing in this book that'll harm you. When it comes to God's laws, God's commandments, his statutes, there's nothing in there that'll harm you if you obey him, if you'll just keep his word. But the children of Israel didn't want to do that. And the psalmist, as he recounted that, he said they spake against God, and they said, can God furnish a table in the wilderness? Now, I want you to think about this question. Can God furnish a table in the wilderness? As the children of Israel came out of Egypt, the best that the best man can calculate and figure it up, they were somewhere around 2 million Israelites came out of Egypt. Now, imagine what it would take to feed 2 million people. How much bread did it would take for 2 million people? But yet God supplied every person exactly what they needed. Imagine how many quail that it would take. They didn't get out there and have to, shoot them with shotguns or hit them with clubs or throw rocks at them. The quail flew over and dropped to the ground. If anything, the children of Israel didn't have to put much effort into going out and gathering food. But God supplied their need, took care of them, gave them manna, gave them bread from heaven, gave them quail, and gave them water from the rock. So, how much more can we ask of God? God promises that he'll supply our needs. He promises that he'll take care of us, that he'll watch out after us. And so that's why that, I think a lot of people during this pandemic, I believe they quit trusting God. I mean, I really do. I believe some of them just quit trusting God and want to trust man more than they do God. But God won't let anything happen to us unless it's his will. And I wish people to understand that. You're not going to die until it's your time to die. You're not going to get sick unless God allows you to get sick. But if we do get sick, aren't you glad we have the great physician? We have one that he can, if it's his will, he can come in and he can heal us of any sickness. Man says there's no cure for cancer, but there is. His name is Jesus. He's the cure for cancer. He may not cure your body or rid your body of the cancer while you're here, but he'll take you. He'll take you out of this world and give you a glorified body, give you one that don't have cancer, and I'm so thankful for that. I was thinking as I was talking to my sister today, she told me about taking Dad to the doctor. It's sad to see my dad get in the shape that he's in. Watching him just get more feeble and feeble every day. But I'm thankful that he's saved, and I have no worries. If he was to pass away tonight, I have no doubt of where he would be, and I have no doubt that I get to see him again. But you know, it bothers us a lot of times is we see people having to go through the things they go through, and a lot of times we don't understand why that God puts some people through these things. You know, Brother Benjamin, just like your dad Benny, you know, we don't understand why God, put him through all that. But you know, look where he's at now. You know, but we just need to trust him. We need to be grateful for his provisions, because he said, "I'll supply all your needs according to my riches and glory." You know, and you think about it. That's saying a whole lot, because the one that we serve tonight is richer than anybody else. The one we serve tonight, he spoke this world into existence. The one we serve tonight, he created the heavens and the earth, created man, sent his son into the world to die for man, so that man might be saved. And we should be grateful for that. We should, when it comes time to come to God's house, we'll put all these worldly things behind us and come on and, just worship God in the way that he would have us to. Mike, anything to say on this tonight? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how much a homer was, and I looked it up there, and from what it said, it's about a tenth of a bushel.
Mm-hmm.
So, tenth of a bushel is quite a bit more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It says some gathered more, some gathered less, but each person had exactly what he needed for that day. That's the way God works. He'll give you what you need. Like an old preacher said one time, he'll give you what you need. He may not give you your wants. He said, I want $1 million, but he said, God knows I don't need that. He said, not that I'm rich, but he said, if I had it, he said, it might corrupt me. He said, it might cause me to sway away or turn away from God a little bit. But he'll supply our needs. He'll take care of us. Anybody else got anything tonight? Okay, well, that's all I've got tonight, so we'll stop right there. Ask you stand to your feet, and we'll ask Brother Benjamin if he'll dismiss us in a word of prayer.